Today on the Topping Show, Tim Walz stolen Valor trends on X Twitter. JD Vance goes to Kamala Harris's jet and asks why does no one ask her any questions. UK government arrests a citizen for simply retweeting quote-unquote hate speech and misinformation. Boeing's new CEO hits the runway. Dodge Charger EV prices are revealed. The Global Alliance for Responsible Media shuts down after Elon files a suit. Planned Parenthood is busted for selling baby parts after years of denying it. And Boars Head, their recall has unfortunately been expanded to now include 3 deaths. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Guy says he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could do me a favor and click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Boeing's new CEO hitting the runway. Not too shabby. Well, granted, that being said, the bar has been set quite low due to the myriad of business ineptitudes of Boeing with their airplanes falling like most stocks lately, like CrowdStrike. As a finance pun, though not financial advice. Now this comes to us thanks to one of the OG search engines, Yahoo, which I'm pretty sure I account for 88% of their internet traffic these days. I'm only slightly exaggerating, but nevertheless. This is also from CNN. They say, quote, Boeing's new CEO is already making an overdue change on his first day of the job. I'll get rid of the boring text for you so you can see one of their... And again, they do some marvelous engineering, one of the best defense contractors in the industry. Also, fascinatingly enough, every defense contractor these days, again, not financial advice, their stocks are going up like a rocket. Boeing's, they're so unsuccessful right now. They're actually doing bad in terms of stock market, which, again, for many years used to be a sure thing and what many people used to be considered a blue chip stock. Nowadays, not so much, not at all, actually. Now they say, looks like the new CEO, Kelly Ortbergs, says he's already winning praise for the new work location. That he has decided to work out the Boeing's Seattle offices, which had been home to the company's headquarters for the first 85 years before it moved to its corporate headquarters to Chicago in 2001, which kind of shows the priority of the company to move to Chicago, which I don't know who would do that to begin with, because, again, Chicago, the crime capital of the planet, and high taxes, and, well, high taxes for businesses, for people, for gasoline, for everything, but kind of showed that many people kind of theorized maybe they're going there to be, more of a financial-based company, close to, there's a lot of finance, a lot of Wall Street investors who are also in Chicago. A lot of investments firms, et cetera, et cetera. But it was always kind of weird, like, wait a minute, you put your headquarters in Chicago when a majority of your planes, they're not made there. A lot of them are made in Washington. So why would you go there again? Which, I don't know how the CEO was ousted right there. I partially digress. It's just Chicago, really? Now, they say, quote, the new CEO sent a memo to staff that he decided to work 2,300 miles from the company's current corporate offices in Arlington, Virginia, which, let's be honest, that makes sense because, government contracts. He said to help restore the company's trust in commercial aircraft business. He says, quote, because what we do is complex, I firmly believe that we need to get closer to the production lines and development programs across the company. I plan to be based in Seattle so that I can be close to the commercial airline program, which makes sense. Again, there are a lot of international companies who want to do a similar thing, very similar tractor manufacturers, let's say, and big construction, heavy equipment manufacturers. Many of them had similar instances when they decided years ago to try outsourcing more operations to India, which, historically speaking, is one of the most successful ways to outsource many operations of the business. But when it comes to manufacturing, and you're making it here, that also increases a lot of variables for miscommunication, delays. Now, he says, quote, you'd be on the factory floor in Renton, Washington, where the company makes their troubled 737 MAX line of airplanes. They also say that Boeing critics saying moving the headquarters away from its factories in the Puget Sound area about 20 years ago underscore the company's focus on financial results instead of production processes and quality, I would argue. They say that, of course, they say Boeing has been plagued by a series of quality issues in recent years, problems that resulted in 2 fatal crashes, deep losses and terrifying incidents, including a door plug that blew off the fuselage in January 5th, and a Boeing 737 MAX operated by Alaska Airlines, which, they're also going to be interesting. All these things are happening when Boeing is putting such an emphasis on hiring people not strictly based on their core competencies and their actual, zeros and ones of the resume in terms of accomplishments, proficiencies, A lot of people are theorizing maybe that's one of the variables that increased the just the terrible quality over there. And he also says, quote, "It's incredibly promising. It shows that he's not afraid to go where the problems are and put in some serious hard work solving them. The other great virtue of showing up is that you get an accurate picture of the situation, yes, rather than the news filtered through what people think you ought to hear." Which, yep, one of the best films that's made in the past 20 years. Granted, the bar is ridiculous. So that was good old Ford versus Ferrari. And famously, you had Carroll Shelby, building out the original Ford GT, which also had a manual transmission, which they should all have. I partially digress. But one of the issues was, I mean, you got how many floors at the Ford headquarters in Dearborn, Michigan? There's just a huge disconnect in all the filters between the actual CEO of the company, Mr. Henry Ford II, and Shelby. Again, that introduces latency. It's also introduced the incentives for some people to scrub the data or manipulate the data to make people look better or worse. So again, there's a lot of downsides to that. So it'll be interesting to see how they're able to do. They say, oh my gosh, again, not financial advice, but yeah, they say, quote, "Design flaw in its best-selling 737 MAX resulting in fatal crashes in 2018, 2019, following a 20-month grounding of the jet. That in turn kicked off years of financial losses that topped $33 billion in its core operating losses in the recent quarter." Which, geez Louise, $33 billion of losses. So things aren't going great for Boeing. Again, not financial advice. Again, the stock is curious to say the least. And it'll be interesting to see, really will be interesting to see how much of this really is able to turn the company around. I mean, America loves a good comeback story. And I mean, most big companies, they've had their turnaround plans. I mean, Starbucks had, well, thanks to the founder of the company, Howard Schultz, he turned the company around twice when they were failing. Very similar. You had decreased quality control because there's less people looking into it, less people actually examining the results. And their focus just wasn't on the quality anymore, and it shifted. And I think, again, not financial advice, I think, I mean, they'll always be around. I should say there's a high propensity Boeing will always be around thanks to the government contracts and defense contracts because, again, they make a fascinating, marvelous engineering from a defense industry perspective. So that's going to keep them afloat, pun not really intended, or in air, probably a better apt metaphor. But with commercial, they've lost a lot of sales, a lot of confidence. A lot of the airlines are pivoting to other options, which, again, Airbus is a huge competitor, and those other options are growing. So let me know in the comments. Do you think Boeing will make a big comeback and they'll increase the quality control to the point where it's actually safe vessels again? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news: you have the Dodge Charger EV pricing released, and it's not supposed to be a joke, but it's quite funny because of the price point and what you get. Now, this is brought to us thanks to The Verge, specifically a writer over there by the name of Omar Shakir, and which he says, quote, "Dodge puts a price on its first electric muscle car. The Dodge Charger Daytona EV will cost at least $61,590 when it arrives at dealerships later this year." Which, yeah, spoiler alert, let's talk about the full cost. Now, in terms of aesthetics, it doesn't look too bad. I'm not, obviously, it's one of the few coupes that's being made these days. There's something that's a nice little silver lining. Granted, if I won the lottery, I would definitely buy one of these just to do an engine swap, put in a good old Hemi, a real one, with a good old stick shift, as they should all be by default. It almost looks like they took the last Charger and put it in a PlayStation 2 in terms of graphics to dumb it down. Because, again, it looks even more simple than what it was, which is kind of saying something, which I'm sure some people find that attractive. Now, they say, quote, "Dodge put a price on its first all-electric vehicle, the Charger Daytona, but it won't be cheap for the meat." I'm not sure if this writer is inebriated, perhaps drinking Bud Light, but they say, "For the mean, clean, neighborhood disturbing machine." Well, they got the last part probably right. They'll probably do a lot of donuts out there. They say the 2024 Daytona two-door model will start at $59,595 for the RT and $75,190 for the Scat Pack. However, those are BES marketing numbers, or books if you want to sound fancy and European. But, well, the issue is those do not include the $1,995 destination fee. And of course, you have all the dealerships add-on. I'm sure some drunk, inebriated person, they'll probably buy the very, very first one for like 200 grand or something like that, just like the Cybertruck. Someone always is willing to pay more to be the first person to own it. But yeah, like the F-150 Lightning or that, what do they call it, Abomination. I mean, there are people paying $20, $30, $40, $100,000 over list price to be the first to get it. Now, there's a lot more collecting dust in the, most dealerships, so you can get them for a much cheaper price. But yeah, 50 Yeah, basically 60,000 and 75,000 for an EV two-door, which will even be faster than a Tesla. Well, I was going to say, hopefully it'll handle better, given the engineering resources or lack thereof at Stellantis, the parent company behind Dodge these days. I'm pretty skeptical in terms of how will the driving experience be compared to a Tesla Model Plaid, Banana Falcon, whatever they call their top trim line level. Now, say that both Daytona models will start production this summer. Four-door models will be built in the first half of 2025. You can check out the models heading dealerships online starting in the fall, and they should make lots by the end of the year. Which, this is just. Avert your eyes. This gets rough. Ugh. You see the four-door version. Terrible. I mean, at least it's an interesting bright orange. I'll give him credit. The paint is at least good, or the artistic rendition of the vehicle in this. And the interior, well, nothing to brag about. Pretty modern. Got, of course, more screens than a freaking Best Buy back in the day when they actually had, products in there. A lot of touch screens. Got the anemic automatic transmission, or I guess in this case just the selector because there's an EV in the middle. Obviously, you only have two pedals. Also heartbreaking as well. Looks like you're seeing a picture of the Scat Pack. The interior was 16-inch instrument cluster HUD, which has been standard. Well, fun business fact: the first mass production vehicle was the 1998 Chevrolet Corvette. They say it'll also have a 12.5-inch UniConnect 5 infotainment system with wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. Which, I don't know, is it just me? I just feel like the more crap they put in cars, the more things they can break. And I don't like those massive screens. I mean, just wait for one pixel to die. Yeah, especially when you have to do, it's an abomination when you have to have adjustments like heating seats, cooled seats, or air conditioner. If that is not a physical button, that annoys the hell out of me for some reason. Especially the only thing I don't like about my little Honda Civic outside of the stick shift, the thing I don't like, and they've made a mistake because they fixed it last year, was the volume is just a scroll. There's no knob on my car. It's ridiculous. Honda eventually did learn the lesson and switched that for the 2019 model year. Here's a couple more pictures you can see. And it's on the track. Hilariously enough, they won't be allowed on most tracks. Not that the people buying them would take them there, but because most tracks do not have the fire suppression technology or the insurance policies to cover EVs, in addition to not having the charging infrastructure. Again, it very well may come in the future, but again, all the tracks around me, anecdotally speaking, well, they don't allow it. Or if they do allow it, there's a caveat that says we basically let your car will let it be burned to a crisp. We're not going to interfere or intervene if there's a crash or if there's a fire. It just goes to nothing. So yeah, it is kind of ironic. And the rear light bar, very similar to last generation. Actually is a little bit more angular than the previous one. See the bastardized logo. It's no longer the Dodge Ram or what we call the little mascot they had. Now, literally just looks like a triangle with the sides bent in. I guess it's supposed to look like the charging port. That Daytona. Ooh, the Daytona is molded into the plastique. That's fancy. They had big brakes, which there's that. Little Scat Pack logo on it. Now, they say that at launch, you'll get the Stage 1 upgrade kit, including for the RT model, that boosts to 496 horsepower and 404 foot-pounds of torque. While the Scat Pack Stage 2 kit zaps out funny, I see what they did there for the verbiage. Zaps out 670 horsepower and 627 foot-pounds of torque. Both run on two-motor, 400-volt systems. Hooray! Again, one of those things with EVs, well, it's just one of those things where they all have enormous amounts of horsepower. I mean, now it's going to be all focusing on the driving experience. Because again, they'll all be fast. It's just the inherent advantage of EV platforms. Now, they also say, quote, both the RT and Scat Pack models won't be eligible for the $7,500 tax incentive through purchasing, but it can be applied through a lease. That's another downside of these vehicles for everyone who loves the EVs is they don't qualify for the government subsidies that are propping up many of the industry. So, yeah, Stellantis, fun reminder, their profits down about 50%, so we'll see how all these business decisions will pan out in the end. But I don't know. I mean, the Charger used to be one of the greatest vehicles, especially in terms of variety. I mean, you had ones that started what was it, 26 grand for the V6 model, and they went all the way up to the Demon Banana Falcon version that costs six figures and is fast as, well, a demon. You can get, I'm surprised they never did a commercial with that old rapper with the "You Can Have Whatever You Like" song, which, I mean, that'd be a great way to emphasize you can have any type of vehicle you want with that. And you want economic one, you want a fast one. There's a lot of options. And I'm not sure the people who want muscle cars are going to want an EV muscle car. Again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this will be the #1 best-selling vehicle in North America. I mean, I think the odds of that are not necessarily zero, but probably 0.000000827% approximately. Because again, it's a whole new type of customer. I don't see a lot of old customers transitioning over to the new EV platform. I mean, in terms of investments, not investment advice, but I see a lot of the old gas ones where, the last versions, those are increasing in value. Now there are some people who are asking absurd amount of money for the final editions, treating them like as collectibles, but some of them are actually successfully selling for high over markup as well. Again, it's the last year, and I don't know. Does anyone else just miss when Dodge used to put a big old V8 in pretty much every platform possible? I mean, they used to be the brand for muscle, and basically will do what the customer wants. And unfortunately, again, this is partially government interventionism. This same company is also facing massive $1 million, I think it's $100 million fines from the U.S. government because they didn't meet EPA regulations for the fleet averages. So again, there are myriad of variables that go into why they're producing so many EVs. One of the biggest variables is also government interventionism. So hopefully we get to go back to having some good old fun, Dodges with a good old, like, an actual, V8 and a Hemi, which again is what the brand is all known about. Or maybe this will be the next evolution of the brand and they'll all love it and maybe they'll outsell Honda, Toyota, and General Motors this year. Let me know in the comments. What are the odds of that? Probably zero. But let me know, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the Culture Pride podcast, you have the Global Alliance for Responsible Media shuts down after Elon filed a suit against them, which I don't want to say they're a corrupt piece of shit organization, part of the French, but yeah, what were they hiding in Discovery? Because again, if Elon were to successfully bring this, I wonder if we'd see all the skeletons in the closet, all the mechanisms that don't want us to see certain products or don't want certain products to be sponsored and advertised. There's a whole corrupt network behind that. Now, going over to the good old X Twitter, see a couple of summarizations here. Say, quote, "The World Federation of Advertisers is discontinuing the Global Alliance for Responsible Media, GARM," which is a hilariously lame sounding name. Yeah, can't help but see some correlations between perhaps similar mafia organizations like Media Matters. Now they say, quote, "Following an antitrust lawsuit filed by Elon's ex against the organization, lawsuit, which also included Rumble, accuses GARM and WFA of being part of a global advertising cartel involved in online censorship. This move has been seen as a significant win for Elon and a blow to corporate censoring efforts, as GARM played a key role in advising advertisers, on reasonable, quote unquote, reasonable ad spending and involved in corporate boycotts, including platforms deemed to host controversial content." Hilariously enough, was always the ones that were in the middle or more conservative. You also have one of the top comments coming from Chris Pavlovsky, who's I believe he's the founder as well as the CEO of Rumble, the best streaming platform bar none. Again, go and follow me over there. He says, quote, "Breaking, the World Federation of Advertisers are shutting down GARM after Rumble and X filed a suit against them. What are they hiding?" Unquote. True, that got 19,000 likes, which, yes, does beg the question. Let's see here. And one of the first comments in that one comes from Colin Rugg. He says, quote, "Business Insider," I guess he's responding to a quote from Business Insider. Business Insider says, quote, "The advertising trade group, the World Federation of Advertisers, told its members on Thursday that it was discontinuing activities for its Global Alliance for Responsible Media initiatives following an antitrust lawsuit filed by Elon Musk's ex against the company earlier this week." Quote, Stefan Loricki, so the CEO of WFA, wrote an email to his members, seen by Business Insider. The decision was, quote, "not made lightly, but GARM is a not-for-profit organization with limited resources." Wow. I got 2.4 thousand likes. Some of the people saying, like Gerald TM saying, quote, "They thought they were going to get away with it. Good for Elon for calling their bluff and filing a lawsuit," getting 207 likes. Ashley St. Clair said, "This is insane. Wow." Alan Harris says, "Limited resources. Don't they represent 90% of global advertising revenue?" Getting 263 likes. Oscar Herrera says, "Who funds these groups or who owns them?" Getting 37 likes. Good questions to ask. Essay of Jaw Jim saying the real question is, what will they replace GARM with? Marxists never fold their tents that quickly unless they have an alternative primed up and ready. Getting 420 likes, which is a good question to ask. Dr. Steve Turley says, wow, they definitely covering their tracks, getting 158 likes. Essay of Majestic Llama saying this is a criminal matter, all evidence must be represented, getting 87 likes. Someone actually has a little AI image of Biden driving in a Corvette with top secret documents in the back of it. I also got 25 likes. Jolene says, what are they renaming the org, or will it be morphed into? Getting 87 likes. Jackie Ritosco says, what? Can you still get the documentations in deposition and discovery? Getting 62 likes, which I'm pretty sure if they dissolve the whole nonprofit, then the lawsuit would just go away. I'm pretty sure that's why that's the prime reason they did this, was to make sure that we didn't get to see anything in discovery. I'm pretty sure that's why they did it. They didn't do this like just. There's no way they did this just because they magically. Oh no, we ran out of money. One of the largest organizations on the planet, one of the most integral advertising mechanisms out there. Like, oh yeah, we don't have money. Really? Yeah, I'm not buying that for a New York minute. The Gay Republican says, quote, you literally called this yesterday, getting 92 likes. The Rick Rascali has a graph, or a little graph says F around find out, getting 68 likes. I think that really is the real question is, what will be morphed into? What will replace it? Again, there's always going to be someone out there to bully folks into not advertising on certain platforms. But yeah, definitely a short-term win for Elon and free speech, I believe. But yeah, companies like the Daily Wire and Law Required have talked about this for years, where, these advertisers are bullied just to not advertise on conservative programs. There's a reason they ever turn into a lot of those programs. You never see a massive big brand on them. They're never represented there. It's not a coincidence. Again, about 50% of the market tunes into their shows on average, and yet they just don't choose to go there. I don't think it's coincidence, but let me know in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have Planned Parenthood admitting they sell baby parts in an undercover report. Yet another conspiracy theory proven to be true. Can't help but think there's a trend about that in the past couple of years. Now, won't play the whole video, we'll play the first couple minutes or two. This comes to us thanks to lives a TikTok. And she says, that, quote, this is insane. Undercover video shows Planned Parenthood employees admitting to and laughing about selling of organs of dismembered body parts from aborted babies. They said this wasn't happening, yet here's the proof. Planned Parenthood is evil, unquote. Which, again, to cover your, I guess you have, yeah, I was going to say, I don't think there's an appropriate, warning, I guess. I'm not sure if there's an appropriate way to have this part of the show if there is children listening. But, yeah, this is quite heartbreaking. And yet again, another instance where we're told, oh yeah, this isn't happening, and yet, yeah, it's exactly what's happening. I say this is the footage you're about to see was taken from the undercover meeting with top-level Planned Parenthood abortion providers. Remember when we were told they were just doing cancer screenings there? They're just handing out condoms, we were told. That's majority of what Planned Parenthood does, we were told. And they fudge the numbers and statistics to try to make that true.
6 months or a year.
Oh, sorry about that. And this video looks like it's from the Center for Medical Progress as well.
6 months or a year ago, you told me about the proposition. And so now every time I...
This is from Dr. quote unquote, Anshut Annie, who's the Chief Medical Officer for Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast.
Doing me and Dini, I'm like, oh, there's some love.
Yeah, you already know.
I'm like, yeah,
I have like a leg for you. I'm like, oh shit. If other people were to hear me, they'd be like, you're evil.
So that other gal was Tracy Nguyen, who's a VP of Abortion Access. Also, it's fascinating as this has become a cultural and political issue throughout the years, Democrats always love to highlight history and how evil history was. Yeah, look into the history of Planned Parenthood and Margaret Sanger, and where did she strategically place all the abortion clinics, and what was her goal? Well, it's quite horrifying. She's an evil racist who wanted to use it to control the population of minorities. Disgusting. One of those evil things, and yet they never talk about that.
People were to hear me, they'd be like, you're evil.
as this says on the screen, Planned Parenthood Gulf ran the biggest abortion clinic in the Western Hemisphere in Houston, Texas. Also, the architecture is rudimentary and disgusting as well. Of the building. Jesus. So it says this clinic aborted babies up to 6 months and sold them for experiments. They say that until the United States Supreme Court ruling on Dobbs v. Jackson ended the Planned Parenthood's abortion practices in Texas on June 24th, 2024, saving countless lives. They're going to say Tram Nguyen is the Vice President of Abortion Access and oversaw all abortion practices at the clinic. Valor, really? Now, this also says Dr. Anshut Aini, definitely butchering that name, but in this case, don't really care, says is a chief medical officer of Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast. They say, quote, she was instrumental in connecting NIH-funded professors at Baylor College of Medicine with Planned Parenthood to purchase aborted fetuses.
I'm lead technician for Biomax.
So we've been working with them. Missy and I have been talking to them about tissue collection and all this other stuff. Middleman.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
sorry to put you like that.
I don't mind. You know what? Middleman.
So you'll be seeing.
The director of abortion services at Planned
So
Parenthood
you'll be
Gulf
meeting.
Coast.
So you know how you met Paul.
Yes.
Anne is actually the one that's in my clinic 3.5 days out of the week.
Okay, so we'll definitely see each other.
So
And I'm
you.
kind of the one who's in charge. Like, Paul is the overall medical director of the entire affiliate, but I kind of run the third floor, the abortion services.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so if once we get our relationship established, it will actually be
She might
Anne
name a lot.
that you will be seeing more of. You have to come and play with our tissue and see if it's cool enough for you.
I like tissues.
We have a lot of it.
Okay.
See?
Okay, so more for me to do.
She's-
Keep me busy, because if
so-
I'm not busy, I get in trouble.
So I have 2 providers who go up to 24 weeks, and Anne is one of the providers. And I'm so sorry. Met the other provider that goes up to 24 weeks, which is Anitra Beasley.
Okay,
And
okay.
Anne is the other provider that goes up to 24 weeks
Oh,
as well.
wow,
So
okay.
if you want more intact ones, she's the one you kind of need to talk to.
You're the one to see, huh?
I had a patient
Yeah,
sometime in the past few months who, I don't remember what it was, but she wanted footprints, and I had a resident with me that day, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this procedure because I'm going to try and do my best to get these feet out in track.
Right.
we did footprints and handprints, baby.
Dude, you guys are awesome. Well done.
Yeah.
Our best.
Well, I mean,
But they need the liver mostly and the
right now we're getting a lot for liver and thymus. Liver is in short demand. Dude, there's people right now, most of the people, like ABR, some of our competitors, they're not even selling the tissue. They're like, oh, we'll give you an isolation. And we're like, well, why can't I get it? And they're like, well, because it's such short demand right now, it's more profitable for us to isolate it and sell you the vials rather than give you the entire tissue. And I'm just like, are you serious?
It's funny because ever since, I think I remember, it was like 6 months or a year ago you told me about the proposition, and so now every time I do a DNA, I'm like, oh, there's some lung.
Yeah, you already know, huh?
Like, I'm like, because I'm
we can do this. I'm telling you.
Down. No, I'm excited.
You told me about the proposition, and so now every time I do a DNA, I'm like, oh, there's some lung.
That is it's like D&E's medical terms, or it's called dilation and extraction is the thing she's referencing to.
Every time I do a DNA, I'm like, oh, there's some lung.
Yeah, you already know, huh?
I was like, where is this? It was like, where's my guy who can play with the tissue? I was like, because they're trying to sort it, and I was like, I'm picking up more. They're like, well, can you show us a sample from today? And I was like, is this a really bad day for us? And
I
there's
remember
only
you
one
mentioned that there was
sample.
one that day.
And it was like one bad sample. It was like a 16-year-old kid.
Oh, please go on.
It was like a 16-year-old kid, so we just had to hurry up. Whereas other days it's more intact, where it's maybe only an arm that's
I would imagine
disarticulated. Other days it's more intact, where it's maybe only an arm that's
I would imagine
disarticulated.
between most weeks, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, anywhere
That's
between
what I
5 and
told
10
them.
samples a week.
See?
I mean, just between Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
Wow.
typical.
And that's what I was telling you.
Again, the whole video is on those TikToks, Twitter. Definitely horrifying. It got 1.4 million views as well as 45,000 likes, which Again, like years ago, we were told, "Oh, this is a conspiracy theory. They're not doing that." No, they would never do it. They provide medical assistance for these ladies. They do the breast exams and stuff. They provide contraception only. It's just a small part of the business. Yeah, about that. Some of the top comments comes from Liz. Oh, apologies for that little soundbite there. Liz at TikTok saying this disturbing footage was originally captured in 2015 as part of the investigation led by undercover journalist David Dowden. Kamala Harris, who was the AG of California at the time, opened an investigation against him on behalf of Planned Parenthood. An injunction was obtained which prevented the release of this footage until this year, when the court finally ruled that the suppressed footage could be published. He is now facing 8 felony charges because Kamala Harris didn't want him to be exposed to Planned Parenthood for selling body parts of murdered babies, unquote. And that got 2.1 thousand likes. Now you also have Paul Zupa saying, quote, "This is really sick. This is a sick reality of what goes on in Planned Parenthood. The organization should be shut down entirely," unquote, getting 53 likes. The Texas One says this is good versus evil, getting 69 likes. Capitalist Mike says, as Attorney General for California, Kamala Harris's arrested a journalist who exposed this, getting 707 likes. And one of the most fascinating hypocrisies, they say they care about, especially they care about whistleblowers, or reporters. Barack Obama famously campaigned on that all those years ago. And then, he ended up putting them a lot in jail. Salty Goat says, didn't Kamala as DA charge the last investigation reporter who did this a number of years ago and lock him up, getting 561 likes? And I do forget the specific name of the individual, but yes, there is a similar story. Alyssa says truth and says it's easy to be pro-choice when you're not the one being killed, getting 445 likes. Gerald TM says Planned Parenthood is evil on Earth, getting 289 likes. Happiness says it's a baby, not just blob of cells, and shows a little embryo, getting 277 likes. AKA says, quote, "They've always sold baby body parts for profit. This is a big business and why they support abortion so strongly," getting 947 likes. So not seeing a lot of contrarian statements, a lot of people, and again, there are millions of Americans who support this. And yeah, I'm not seeing them in the comment section of this particular area, but it is quite horrifying, and a lot of people have, will this affect the political campaign of Kamala Harris? I mean, the topic and the cultural and political topic of abortion has changed so radically throughout even just past couple of years. It's fascinating to see, like, Democrats back in the day. I said it once, I'll say it again. During the Clinton era, the common messaging culturally and politically was they thought Republicans thought abortion should be limited or not at all, and on average. Then on the left, Democrats, they said, hey, we agree everyone agreed this was a bad thing, left and right and center. They all said this isn't a good thing. But on the left, they said, hey, this should be rare. It should be safe, legal, and rare. Those are the 3 bullet points, the talking points they used for like a decade. And the slippery slope theory, again, well, I should say the slippery slope rule of law, I should say, it's shown that, yeah, that's led to now abortion being praised. With that side of political aisle, it's almost like coming a passage from some of these people. It's just really disgusting and morally disgusting that there are people who are praising gay abortions, which, again, that is horrifying too. And they're proud of it too. That's even more horrifying. They're proud of it. They're pushing it. I think a lot of people in the middle are frankly disgusted by that. And if you look at most polls, most Americans do not want abortion past, I believe, is like 4 to 5 months. On average, the percentage of people who approve of it dropped dramatically, especially in 3rd trimester. Very few places actually approve of that. Very few people want it. I do have places like Minnesota where you could actually get abortion all the way up to basically the day of the birth. They have 9-month abortions there because, again, that's what the people there voted for, as this has become a state's issue. And it'll be interesting, even though, again, they keep trying to make it a federal level during this election campaign. You just got to keep reminding folks, well, it's on a state level. If you don't like the policies left or right, just go make some good old Hobby Lobby cardstock signs, go peacefully protest, get a petition, campaign, vote for someone who's going to change it to your liking. It's deceitful that people are trying to make this a federal issue, and like, oh yeah, you vote for me, we'll make it a federal law. It's like, well, no, the Supreme Court was pretty clear about relegating it back to the states, also showing you in the Constitution where it is. But yeah, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised that we actually have this evidence now. But let me know, are you surprised? Are you going to tell your friend? Do you think people finally believe this theory now that we have a lot of concrete evidence? Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Tim Walz, Stolen Valor, trending on X Twitter. Now, he's known as also Tampon Tim for putting tampons to the boys' locker room, or not locker room, well, probably there too, but the boys' washroom, restrooms, as well as signing transition bills, as well as signing paperwork that illegals can obtain a driver's license and thereby get a path to vote. Very controversial person for Kamala to pick, and I'm still fast. I thought she was going to pick someone more moderate because she's more left of Bernie Sanders, which is saying something. I actually thought she'd pick someone much more in the middle to try to capture more of the independent voters, and folks feel more politically alienated, just more in the middle overall. But she went full leftist with this pick. I mean, this is a guy who allowed his cities and state to burn during the George Floyd mostly peaceful protest. Now, there's actually a little video evidence here. So this comes to us thanks to Greg Kelly over on X.com. He says, quote, Walz just broke federal law in boasting he was going to war he actually skipped. Timmy Walz is a violation. This is a violation of the Stolen Valor Act of 2013. Penalty 1 year in jail. Prosecute now. Which, again, is you have political lawfare and basically two rules of law. Yeah, he won't be. The Republicans and the rhinos, they won't do anything. Let's be honest. Because the other way around, sure, they'd be fining him for hundreds of millions of dollars, locking him up tomorrow. But no, that's not the way government works these days in America. But it's only about 31 seconds, so it's not too painfully long. Is he wearing flannel? What is he wearing there? Or is that flannel pant or jacket?
Hope woke up like many of you did 5 weeks ago and said, Dad, you're the only person I know who's in elected office. You need to stop what's happening with this. I'll take my kick in the butt for the NRA. I spent 25 years in the Army and I hunt. And I gave the money back, and I'll tell you what I have been doing. I've been voting for common sense legislation that protects the Second Amendment, but we can do background checks. We can do CDC research. We can make sure we don't have
bullshit. All unconstitutional. Fascinatingly enough, the CDC research, for years, it showed that firearms are used to stop crime and stop bad guys. Estimated 3 to 6 million per year. Fascinatingly enough, recently they decided to no longer track those statistics because it made guns look good and it showed the power of the importance of a good guy with a gun. Also, yeah, in terms of, he says, he respects the Second Amendment, then you should want citizens to have the same exact armaments, if not better, than the U.S. government, because that's what the founding fathers intended it to be used for. But I'll partially digress. I'll wind it back up a second.
We can do background checks. We can do CDC research. We can make sure we don't have reciprocal carry among states, and we can make sure
you don't. So you don't want people to be able to defend themselves when they're going to another state? I just thought you said you believe in the Second Amendment and believe to defend yourself. Oh, because he's a liar.
That those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons are at.
First of all, another lie. AR-15, known as the scary black rifle, not the weapon of war. Unless you have $30,000 plus for a post-1986 manufactured registered machine gun, every single AR-15 you see, well, I guess that'd be an M4, well, they're all semi-automatic, which is mechanically identical to the same firearms that have existed for well over 100 years plus. Yet they want to get rid of the scary one because it's black. As a detachable magazine. Oh wait, they've had detachable magazines for well over 100 years as well. Yeah, people are evil. And of course, their cronies, their bodyguards, they'll all have full armaments, but you can't defend yourself at all. This went pretty viral, got 1.3 million views as well as 57,000 likes. One of the first comments comes from Patty saying, hey Tim Walz, what war were you in? Getting 396 likes. Dr. Mia Deacon says, actually he didn't say anything wrong, getting 205 likes. See here? Kevin Garvey says, are there any Republican prosecutors with a set of balls, getting 592 likes? Which, yeah, unfortunately, yeah, probably not. Again, especially when it comes to the Second Amendment, I'll never forget, Republicans had the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. Yet they couldn't get the Hearing Protection Act passed, which would have had suppressors treated as a standard firearm transaction with a 4473 background check and paperwork. They couldn't even get that passed. So if you want to buy a fire suppressor now, you still have to pay a BS $200 tax stamp, do the passport photo, fingerprints, basically treat you like a criminal, additional background checks because of the law of the 1934 National Firearms Act, which restricts all fun things. It's also, I would argue, unconstitutional. Republicans could have done something. They had the votes. They even had the paperwork to repeal that overburdensome regulation on suppressors, and yet they didn't. I can't decide if it's cowardice, ineptitudes, or rhinos, aka pejoratively known as Republicans in name only. Or perhaps it's a mixture of all three. So, I mean, this is a case, will he be prosecuted? No, probably not. I mean, I don't think so. Nancy says, my God, you people are so desperate. He had a 24-year military career. Got 190 likes. Let's see here. John Public's uninteresting name. John Public responds saying, you woke people are insane, just insane. Your Deep Party has started 2 wars, and if Kamala is elected, it's going to be endless war and probably depression. Well, he should probably clarify or fact check. A continued depression. Getting 10 likes. Stacey also responds saying, quote, he had a 25-year in the National Guard. There's a difference. One is on a base somewhere doing a job, and the other shows up once a month to do a local unit for the weekend. Military burn, perhaps. They got 12 likes. Jasper says, yes, he did serve the country, but he never carried a weapon in war, as he stated, getting 4 likes. Going back to the main comment section, Jane Holmberg says, Tim Walz was deployed in Italy in support of the Afghan war, as many were soldiers. Donald Trump, on the other hand, was scammed, or no, on the other hand, scammed 5 deferments to avoid enlisting because he's a feckless coward. They say it's a unique insult. When's the last time I heard that? It got 218 likes. Was he ratioed? Juan Gasto says Italy wasn't deployment, nor was it combat, getting 24 likes. Catherine responded saying, what war was Biden or Harrison, getting 10 likes. So not ratioed by number of likes, but number of comments he was. The Angry Donkey says, the fact that he missed, the unit missed him, he shows up how valuable Waltz was. In 2006, he was voted into the House of Representatives and chose to retire from the Guard. Getting 33 likes. A couple contrarian statements here. Paul Risky Benedict says, I hear the FBI is all over this. The online videos will be stowed in the Ark of the Covenant with Hillary's emails, Epstein's clients list, Hunter's laptop, Trump assassination plot, and Seth Rich for murder files, unquote. Getting 46 likes. Which, I mean Hillary's emails, let's be honest, they're all completely honest. She's a very beautiful, intelligent woman who would never hurt a fly. Statistically speaking, there has definitely not been an abnormal amount of people around her who just happen to commit suicide, 28 people plus. Just want to say, I mean, she's totally wise, majestic, and she would never hurt a fly. Just coincidentally, I also want those out there. I plan to live a very long, fruitful life and well into my, maybe 70s, 80s, or whatever. I would have never, ever, ever ended prematurely. Just coincidentally, I want to throw that out there today. Now, going down, you have Act Non Verba saying he's a pathological liar, getting 82 likes. Going down more and more. Michael Thompson simply says, you absolutely stupid F, getting 55 likes. No responses, though? Huh. See here. Scrolling down more and more. Someone saying Trump hurt a child. The FJC says prosecute the bastard, getting 27 likes. John says another fake tough guy exposed. If Tim Walz really broke the Stolen War Act, then it's time to hold him accountable. Pretending to be a hero while skipping out in real fight is cowardice at its finest. Let's see if the system has the guts to prosecute one of their own. Getting 89 likes. Here. Mr. John simply says, hey Waltz, you got effed, or you effed hard. So, a lot of people here. Yeah, a couple contrarian statements, mostly roasting him. I mean, I don't think it's going to end his political career. I mean, the United States is so divided. I mean, you probably could put literally anyone in the VP role, and people would vote for that party regardless. Another reason I'm a big fan of just getting rid of the D's or R's next to the people's names when they're actually on the ballot. I think you actually have to know who you're actually voting for, and better yet, you should have to write in what are their top 2 or 3 policies so you're actually an educated voter. I know no one would ever want that to be like a law or rule, but yeah, there's a lot of people, left and right, who just vote down ballot. I mean, they even say blue no matter who, which is a catchy phrase. I'll give them that. It is catchy, not intelligent, but it is catchy. Also shows how they really don't care about policies, conscriptions, or what the individual ideas that the candidates are bringing to the table. They just want the party, which I think is one of the reasons we see so much apparent support for Kamala Harris. And just months ago, they're all pro-Biden, saying he's smart and articulate as he was 20 years ago. Yeah. But let me know. I mean, could this be? I mean, veterans are a huge voting bloc. Maybe there'll be a huge backlash against him. I mean, I would also guess that most veterans vote maybe more right on average. That'd be an interesting statistic to look into as well. But let me know what's your feedback. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, because as always, I'm fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news: you have J.D. Vance going to Kamala Harris's jet and asking, "What are you around doing? Why aren't you doing interviews? What Almost reminds me of Office Space. What would you say you do around here? Which, of course, Kamala would immediately cackle in her trademark Joker laugh. Because, yeah, what has she done? I mean, she's in charge of the border and AI, which there's a debate, can she even spell AI? But, yeah, certainly not anything good jobs. Now, this is actually first posted by Riley Gaines over on X Twitter. And she says, quote, J.D. Vance approaches Kamala Harris's plane and asks on her to answer questions after 18 days without an interview, press conference, or campaign platform. He's applying pressure when the media and government won't. Such a power move by Vance. And of course, as all good men, he did, of course, suit up for this event.
I know you're covering the vice president here. I figured I'd come by and one, just get a good look at the plane. Hopefully it's going to be my plane in a few months. But I also thought you guys might get lonely because the vice president doesn't answer questions from reporters and hasn't for 17 days. Have they given you guys an explanation for why she won't take questions from reporters?
So he's going up to the reporters who are standing by the VP's plane. Of course, she's not going to answer any of their questions.
No? Nobody? Okay, great. Well, I hope that she changes her mind because it'd be good for the American people, and I think it'd be good for you all if she actually ran a real campaign instead of one from a basement with a teleprompter. So, have a good one, guys. See ya.
Brilliant trolling. Although that being said, Biden did apparently win from just campaigning in the basement, so maybe she's thinking the same strategy will work for her. This one, moderately Valor got about a little under 700,000 views and 32,000 likes. The first comments coming from Bradley Scott saying, quote, great move by Vance. Trump and Vance can explain their policies. Harris can't. They are not the same, getting 105 likes, which there's also an undercover reporter from the DNC where they basically said, oh yeah, we just tell whatever the people want. We're not actually going to do it. So wherever they go, they just pander and say whatever they want. Which, it's worked for them in the past. Why do they stop now? Old School Eddie says, quote, boom, badass, a sign of someone who has no trouble leading, getting 41 likes. Noble Patriot says, quote, this is how you do, this is how we win the election. Force them to answer questions on policy because they can't. Gain 26 likes. Although the running joke is she's still waiting for what her handlers want her to say. American Papa Bear says, quote, why or who couldn't love JD Vance, getting 45 likes. AKA simply says epic, getting 46 likes. Cartag says, why should she talk? The Republicans are doing a great job making her look great. I'd let them cook too. Getting 68 likes. Scrolling down more and more, you got Samantha DeMarie Bartosos saying, power move, what a stunt. All policies and positions have been vigorously vetted through their campaign. Kamala has been taking 2 weeks to stand up the campaign and select a summer running mate. All good. On schedule, Trump Vance are acting desperate to somehow change the current momentum. And that did get 55 likes, believe it or not. Paul Manning says, if you love him now, you're going to feel excited when you see him speak to his employees once a month and tell them how your government, if you're menstruating or not. Getting 26 likes. Interesting. Any contrarian statements here? I forgot who it was. It was that one weird government employee who dressed in drag and stole women's clothing from airports multiple times while having apparently access to nuclear secrets. That bald guy, and he says Republicans are weird while dressed in drag. Well, someone inserted that. That's what they've been saying. But you know, if they got 23 likes. Funny AI pictures of, what do we call it? Is that the same girl? So Jethro Boatson says, is that the holster Holly? How does she solve her job? Is that the same chick? The big gal who didn't know how to holster a pistol, and she wasn't, for a second I thought she was bending over to pick up a donut. Given her body type, it's not out of the question. But she cowardly just squatted behind Trump when he was being shot at, and then she didn't know how to holster a pistol. Which is, again, why you hire the best people, not hire people based on their demographics and their age, gender, things they can't, their race or gender, things they can't control. And is that her? She got 6 likes. I mean, the head of Secret Service said no one got fired. It's also how you know how terrible the public sector is. No one got fired. This head of the Secret Service did step down, but yeah, no one was actually fired, held accountable for that. For nearly allowing Trump to die. Or planning it. We'll be interested to see if we ever see the true answers at the end of the day. So a pretty good move by JD Vance. It'll be interesting to see what kind of other campaign tactics he's thinking about. Might show or highlight the ineptitudes or lack of policies of the Harris campaign. Because yeah, you got one thing Trump. You say a lot of things about Trump, but Can't say he's not a fan of the camera and letting people know what his thoughts are, what his policies are, and what his ideas to get those policies accomplished are. But let me know, again, there are a couple of folks who thought this was kind of backfiring on them. Do you think this is a good political move, and do you think they'll do similar ones in the future? Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, the UK government is now arresting citizens for simply, quote-unquote, hate speech and misinformation on social media. In fact, simply a retweet could have them come and arrest you, in true 1984 fashion. Now we got two clips. One is talking about the concept, and the other is actually a specific instance of those corrupt governments arresting people. This is quite horrifying, and is yet another reason why you should be thank God for the First Amendment, thank God for the Second Amendment. The Bill of Rights is so rare. It's also horrifying that, Kamala Harris's VP says there's no such thing as guaranteed speech, and he also wants to make it so the government can take that away from you if it's quote-unquote hate speech or quote-unquote misgendering. Again, that means they're going to force compelled speech upon us, where if you don't say the right pronouns, you'll be arrested. It's already happening in other countries, and in some public schools in the United States, the courts ruled that they can also be punished if they don't use the quote-unquote proper pronouns. Now, this is first brought to our attention thanks to End Wokeness on X Twitter, saying, quote, breaking, UK authorities will round up and charge citizens who retweet any material deemed as, quote-unquote, inciting hatred. And what would be an insult in the UK? This limey Brit? I guess maybe they would say that. Let's see what, it's only 41 seconds, so we'll hear what he has to say. And this is thanks to skynews.com.
The offence of incitement to racial hatred involves publishing or distributing material which is insulting or abusive, which is intended to or likely to start racial hatred. So if you retweet that, then you're republishing that, and then potentially you're committing that.
Oh, let's listen to that again. It's very important.
Publishing or distributing material which is insulting or abusive, which is intended to or likely to start racial hatred.
So they're going to guess what you're thinking. They're going to say, oh yeah, we think what you were thinking is that you were intending for this to happen. Listen, we don't like this speech. You think it's hate speech.
So if you retweet that, then you're republishing that, and then potentially you're committing that offence. And we do have dedicated police officers who are scouring social media. Their job is to look for this material.
True 1984 fashion. Again, read that brilliant novel by George Orwell. It's probably the reason why most public schools in the United States don't actually have children reading it. Probably should. It's a depressing book, but it is all too accurate to, unfortunately, the modern authoritarianism of most governments.
And then follow up with identification arrests and so forth. So it's a really serious. People might think they're not doing anything harmful. They are, and the consequences will be visited upon them.
Wow. Thankfully, this went pretty viral. We're getting out 24 million views as well as 32,000 likes, which just would be a couple 100 million views, so the world would see how evil these governments are truly becoming. My first comment comes from Gunther Eagleman saying, quote, F the UK comedy is getting 5.9 thousand likes. Scrolling down, you have Sassafras84 saying, damn, the UK went to hell in a handbasket, quit voting Democrat, getting 1,000 likes. Paul Zupa says, what about reposts? Getting 283 likes. Cass Loren, A+ for the reference, he says, full on 1984 commie hellhole, getting 25 likes. Cat Turd says, UK equals North Korea, getting 3.2 thousand likes. You could debate which one actually has worse food. Sounds like a really horrifying reality show. You have to eat the food from each country. Oh dear God. One shudders to imagine. Scrolling down, you got nice meme. I don't know. Again, maybe someone in the comments can help me with this cultural reference. A person in it's a cartoon, a rudimentary scribble cartoon, with someone holding like a wand or a spatula, and there's shouting, and there's three people across the comic strip that are responding. It says, what do you want? It says free speech. And the person shouting goes, for everyone? And they say, just for us. And he goes, that's not free speech. And they respond, say, you're racist. Getting 4.3 thousand likes. Van Lucum says, fascism disgusting is disguised as democracy. You have looks like a Nazi with a Pride Progress band and BLM fist. Not emoji, like an emblem. It says, why can't you fascists just let the government tell you what to do? And 2.5 thousand likes. I think it's a classic, the meme situation where the ladies are sitting at a dinner table and the gals holding the dog's mouth shut. Ladies at the table are labeled the UK government, as well as BLM riders and violent immigrants. The dog with the muzzle being shut with the UK government is actually closing its muzzle. It's called US citizens, with the dog getting 1.7 thousand likes. the NPR, I mean an NPC meme says free speech is dangerous unless liberals control it, getting 3.8 thousand likes. AJ Wolf says UK government 2024. It's a bunch of SWAT-looking guys, the British flag, and says we saw your meme, step outside, getting 2.4 thousand likes. Truth. Red Wave Press says, wow, the UK has become a dumpster. It is no longer safe for Englishmen to live there, getting 1.4 thousand likes. Jay Hand says, hatred probably includes, quote, please stop attacking Christians, getting 1.8 thousand likes. A couple pictures of before and after mass immigration. Oh, here we go. Here's that. I was just referencing this perpetual human frog, or what does he look like? Tim Walz?
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
It's sad. Maybe he's illiterate, or no, more likely he's just mentally, well, not just mentally vacuous, but un-American, because, again, there literally is something that will guarantee it. It's called the First Amendment. They might not like it. Oh, no, we know they hate it. There's nothing they hate more than free speech and open speech platforms like X, Twitter, which is why this is the only platform I actually pay for. I actually believe in it. And yeah, they want to literally erase all. I mean, they're already erasing history. I mean, they're trying to do that with Kamala. Not thankfully, it's not working too great. But yeah, they want to control everything you say. Because again, hate speech, while it's visually disgusting, I would never do it. But again, that's the speech that you need to be protected. And knowing them, they also redefine everything. So it's just anything they don't like is now hate speech. Now, let's see if there's any contrarian statements here. Because again, there are a million of, I was about to call them Americans, there are millions of people who live in America who do want these types of laws here. Scrolling down, you got Dr. Marcus Crossing. Hello, HM's government. We Germans have lots of experience with this kind of policing and people and true trademarks. I would claim the Gestapo, Stasi, you name it. Our current rulers could give you consulting on how to revive these amazing tactics. Call 1-800-NANCY, getting 544 likes. Sally says, full-on communism is taking place in the UK. Starts in the UK, then spreads to Australia. Final destination in the US. Are you ready to pay attention yet? Vote like your country depends on it. Trump Vance 2024, getting 761 likes, which is very true. You see a lot of political and cultural initiatives, policies, and prescriptions spread throughout the globe. In many cases, like a virus, where, especially when you have totalitarian places like Canada, where again, they don't allow free speech. You get fined if you so much as insult one of their government officials. They also disarm the populace and force them to do terrible things. But yeah, those policies, and they force kids, they will take your kid away if you don't allow them to transition to Canada. And again, a lot of people saw the writing on the wall, says, hey, this will come to America. So a lot of people laughed at them and said, no, it'll never happen here. Happened in California, now it's spreading across the US. Yeah, Rebecca Anti-Communist says, quote, why do they recently vote an extreme left-wing government? And are people on board with this type of thing? Getting 211 likes. See here. Looks like a concerned-looking red coat, and it says the Brits gave up their guns, and now the government put them in jail for Facebook posts, getting 360 likes. Let's see. Now let's go to the actual instance where someone was specifically arrested for this. This is also thanks to Sky News. Now this also comes from End Wokeness. It says, quote, breaking, a 55-year-old lady was arrested by Cheshire police for an inaccurate quote-unquote post. It was about the Southport attacker.
Now, and a woman has been arrested by Cheshire police in relation to an inaccurate information on social media about the attacker in the Southport murders. It says a 55-year-old woman from near Chester was arrested earlier today, Thursday the 8th, of course, on suspicion of publishing written material to stir up racial hatred and false communications. She is currently being held in police custody. Chief Superintendent Alison Ross has also made a statement saying that this is in relation to a post which has been fueled by malicious and the process rather has been fueled by malicious and inaccurate communications online. It is a stark reminder of the dangers of posting information on social media platforms without checking the accuracy. It's also a warning that we are all accountable for our actions.
Yep, it's already begun. Got 300,000 views and 4.2 thousand likes. The first comment comes from Craig Chamberlain, who said, quote, so people are supposed to live in fear of resharing content on the internet like this poor woman. The UK authorities have become far too power hungry. We truly live in Orwellian times. And quoting 251 likes. This was a bonus for the 1984 reference. Again, written by George Orwell. If you have kids, a little more child-friendly one that's not quite as dark. but still has many of the same important themes, would be Animal Farm. Again, that's much shorter, a little bit easier to digest. Again, everyone on the planet should read those books because it shows you, I mean, the most evil things in history always happen because of the government. Now, Gunther Eagleman simply says the UK is falling, getting 330. Wow, I was supposed to say 30. I was supposed to say 331, jumped up to 334 likes. Got Wall Street Ape says this is literally coming to America if Democrats steal the next election. This is a globalist agenda, getting 503 likes. Sarah Rose says this is what Waltz wants, getting 340 likes, which that's a catchy phrase. I'm surprised it's not already a campaign slogan around a t-shirt by now. Waltz wants. UK General TM says UK government officials are a bunch of communists, getting 137 likes. Vance Linkelman says, quote, Biden's Gestapo DOJ put Trump support in prison for a crooked Hillary meme. And 35 likes. True, a great example of the discrepancy in terms of the equal application of justice in the United States. You had two individuals, one that was on the left politically and one that was on the right politically, and they both did a meme where it says, again, one had Hillary, one had Trump. They said, hey, text this number to get your, for your vote to go here. Person on the right was thrown in jail. Person on the left, I don't even think he got a slap on the wrist. The same scenario. Let's see, any contrarian statements here? Redway Press says the UK government is on a rapid spiral downward, getting 73 likes. Oh, all three good books. So it looks like there's one of those funny intersections with the roundabouts. And this is posted by Fantastic Mr. Fox, and it says Animal Farm, and the roads are labeled Animal Farm, 1984, Fahrenheit 451, and Brave New World. All brilliant novels that everyone should read. Fortunately, public schools, I think these days, probably don't push them. They got books about a gender they have to push on kids. Yeah. Homeschool your kids, folks. OBS Maximus says Gov Media pushes that material to stir up racial hatred and false communication every single day, getting 10 likes. Again, yet another thing where folks saw the writing on the wall, said it would happen, and now it's happening in real time. Quite horrifying. I'm not sure how it's going to stop, frankly. Definitely vote differently. Every vote counts. Get out there and vote wherever you are in the globe. Make sure you step up to the ballot box and vote, because it does matter. Hopefully this doesn't spread. Again, you do have some people in the United States that are pushing for it. And maybe, a lot of people are saying, well, thank God we have the Bill of Rights. Well, what if the Supreme Court, what if they expand it to have 100 people on the Supreme Court? Just give themselves a supermajority. In that case, what happens then? Then they get all the policies they want, like they have for decades. Horrifying to think of, but it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. We have politicians that are advocating for that. So definitely horrifying to see this on a global level, and I can't help but think we're going to see it on a local level soon. So always stay vigilant. Spread this news like there's no tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get some good news to report on this subject in the future from a political perspective, and we'll see. But of course, as I sometimes say, time shall tell. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day. Unfortunately, the sad news, the Boars Head recall has now been expanded to include 3 deaths. Now, this is coming up thanks to a couple of websites, and this specifically is coming up to WTOP, which they say, quote, 3rd person dies in a hysteria outbreak tied to Boars Head deli meats. There you can see one of their iconic logos are there called the Virginia Ham. And they say, quote, 3 people have now died in a listeria poisoning outbreak linked to the Boars Head deli meats. Federal food safety officials announced the overall number of people who are sickened rose to 43 people. The additional death happened in Virginia, according to the CDC, in their news release, while the 2 other deaths were in New Jersey and Illinois. CDC also said that 9 more cases were reportedly since July 31st. And they also continued to say that Boars Head recalled now up to 7 million deli meats on July 30th, now expanded to recall even more. It includes 70 products, including liverwurst, ham, beef, salami, and bologna, made by the company's plant in Jarrett, Virginia. They said Boars Head already faces 2 lawsuits over the outbreak, one in Missouri court and the other class action lawsuit in New York. And fortunately, it says the meat was distributed to stores nationwide, as well as Cayman Islands, Dominican Republic, Mexico, and Panama. They say consumers should not eat the recalled meats and should discard them or return them to the store for a refund. They emphasize that the listeria bacteria can survive and grow in refrigerators, so officials say that people who had recalled products should thoroughly clean and sanitize their fridge to prevent further contamination. So definitely some very sad news in the business blunder today. It's recall's been expanded. Unfortunately, this has become even more deadly as more people have passed away from it. And I hope this news gets spread far and wide and shared as much as possible, because again, this is very preventable. If you see someone with this in their fridge, tell them immediately. I mean, I wouldn't even bother checking the expiration dates. I just don't risk it. Just whatever has their logo on it right now, toss it. Not worth the risk. Some might say it's a little going overboard, but again, I don't think it's worth the risk to someone's health. So definitely, just if you have that in your fridge or you have that in your freezer, take it out, play it safe, toss that immediately, clean all your refrigerators, your freezers, especially well. And hopefully this news gets spread far and wide. There's no more additional people who pass away from it, and that there's no more people who are getting sick from it. Hopefully soon. But unfortunately, having this recall, again, the Boars Head recall expanding, and now including more people who pass away from it, is obviously tearful to the brand and heartbreaking for the families. That's certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I really appreciate it. Also, leave me a thumbs up or thumbs down or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.